Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Witcher, Session 13, Blood Pact, Part 4. We're going to do 5 parts this week. So, on to those books, he says. And I'll let you take it up, Rand.
Alright, so you might be familiar with Lord Tavison of Craig.
I am.
Their significant dwarven population.
I am.
We found him in a bit of a state when we went there, and we had to look around. It turns out he had some interesting books lying around, specifically a dwarven journal of sorts that seems to be dated when dwarves first arrived here. And I'll take it out and show it to him, let him read it.
He looks at it and just kind of reads the cover, part of the first page, nods and says, "This is in fact very interesting. Honestly, this is a bit of a foreign dialect than what I'm familiar with. It would take a bit to fully read it myself."
I imagine that I would be able to assist you with that, because it contains quite a bit of Elder speech, which is why I was able to decipher so much of it.
Certainly.
The other book, because there was another one, also, same dialect. How much contact have you had with gnomes recently?
Indirect. There are those that had the ability to procure the Mohawken iron, provided it to Craig, where weapons were manufactured and then transported to us through different channels. Certainly there's contact, but not direct by any stretch of the imagination.
I see. Well, we happened to find a book on the secrets of gnomes. And I believe that with enough time spent translating, we might be able to map ourselves to the deep end and possibly get into contact with said gnomes.
He looks uneasy with that one. Perhaps things like that are best left known to those that know it, and having a written map to get to them is best left destroyed. Even if
it's not a written map by any means. It would take a great deal amount of deciphering.
You mean somebody willing to pour their resources into being successful in the endeavor?
Yes, and that would require us all agreeing that such a venture is a smart idea to begin with.
Understood. Perhaps somebody was willing to send an army to kill a single boy.
Which is exactly why we decided not to leave the book in Craig, where it's absolutely swarming with said people.
But what if you fail in your task? What if you fall behind? What if it's dropped? What if it's forgotten somewhere after a long night of promiscuity, and it's recovered by someone that passes it to another, and eventually it finds itself in the hands of Stefan or someone else with ill intent? Something like that is best left destroyed. I'm not concerned.
I don't imagine they would have the resources to translate such elder speech.
I imagine if they had a will, they would find the resources.
They would certainly try, but the only reason they got us to work with them is because they literally threatened to murder us otherwise.
Gold, intimidation, and oppression. That's what they do. I think it's best left destroyed. I can't tell you what to do. It's not mine. It's not even yours. It's the Lord's. But it's in your possession. It's best left destroyed. I'm in no place to make demands, though. I sit in your debt, time and time again.
We'll definitely consider
Yes.
your perspective.
We won't take any action without thorough overthinking of all the possibilities. However, onto something somewhat more light. How would you feel about studying this dwarven book?
I would be interested in it. It would take some time to read through it and whatnot. It would have to kind of be left with me. Yes, it would have to kind of be left with me, but it's something that could be done.
I kind of look around while saying, like, I don't think any of us would object to that.
Well, then
We might have a Caesar dial again once he moves camp.
I have a feeling that our paths are meant to cross again at the far side of this.
Yes.
Well, you have all the information. Leave the book with me if you'd like. Both of them, if you would like me to handle that other task. And you know how to get to the boy. You're to head to the, you're to head to Dorian. And there you will speak. You have your contact. You'll have your directions. I imagine you'll be heading out soon?
Probably next morning, yes.
Is it straight to Dorian then?
We do still have a few matters to attend to in Koreas, but we figured it best to head to you immediately and figure out how the situation here is developing. I imagine that Malvoon will be sending someone shortly, once he has some success with the saliva of the beast.
Nods.
That should hopefully help your people come back to their natural form, if such a thing is still possible after such a time.
I'll only be holding out for a small amount of time before I head out myself. A week at least, a month at most, before we leave. Honestly, probably closer to the shorter time frame. But for us to appropriately set out, we need to scout out the paths, where it is that we can head from here. We're thinking heading... Honestly, we're not sure. Perhaps to the south, to the southern reaches of the Mahakan Mountains. Maybe we could find a comfortable place there. Not very far from Mayina. We don't have allies there right now, but maybe in time we will. Either way...
So... Sorry, go ahead.
No. Either way, we're going to have to leave here soon.
Yes, it's not wise to spend so long in one area.
Not at all.
There's probably still more scout groups out there.
Especially if one scout group has disappeared. Eventually they're going to be curious as to why. So.
Exactly.
He looks to Leonard, who's going to say something.
Yes, so I guess, well, this was more for the party. I guess, should we, we got Malvoon on one end and we got the boy on the other. Which direction do we want to head?
I think Malvoon first.
It would be wise to conclude our business over there, especially since it might help us on our path later down the line.
Sure. The boy is not the direction Malvoon is, right? That would be going out of the way.
Malvoon is the opposite direction.
Malvoon's
Okay.
like a day to the southwest, whereas the boy is very, very west. So Malvoon's not necessarily out of the way so much as it is you're spending a whole week there, which is time consuming.
Right, yeah.
So
Okay.
he says, how long do you intend to spend with Malvoon? Is this a quick trip, conversation, or...
Unfortunately, it might take a bit longer than we'd like. The witch hunter supplied me with a megascope. However, having had no training in the ways of magic, using such megascope might lead to catastrophic errors.
I don't know much about those things, but I imagine what you're saying is true. If you're not going to be leaving for some time, I have a small request. As I said beforehand, there will be a bit of scouting that needs to happen, probably to the south of Carius. Since it's not too far from where Malvoon is, perhaps I can borrow one of you to go ahead with my scouts, unless all of your attention is needed with Malvoon. Maybe you can head to the south a bit, south of Carius a bit, not traveling too far from the city, so you can return in the time frame that's appropriate, and see if you can start finding not where the next camp will be, but a path to take that might be a bit safer.
So one of us has to stay?
You don't have to stay. I'm making a slight request to see if somebody would be willing to help Belka and the scouting party to find the appropriate paths, because we will have to cross through the main road between the northern and southern reaches of the Mahakans, and that road is, I imagine, if not already, soon to be patrolled by the witch hunters, and so we need somebody that can slip through and give us aid, find us a
Well,
good path.
Would you
Sounds-
be willing to do this, Leonard?
It sounds perfect for me, really. Yeah. I mean, if one of you, because we already know we're not going to use my blood. I'm totally against that shit. But
We don't need you with Malvoon, so...
yeah, if one of you wants to take my saber, you could upgrade it for me.
Ha!
We're
You
using
can upgrade my
sword.
sword. Thanks.
Excuse me.
I mean, I'm just saying.
we're upgrading mine.
Okay, very well. Your big ass silver sword, dude.
No, we're not. We're doing my regular sword.
Oh, I was gonna say your big, your two-handed is your silver sword, right? That's two-handed.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit would be like the ultimate monster slayer if we upgraded that. You should think
Yeah.
about it.
So he nods and says, "Very well. You're welcome to rest here as long as you'd like, or you can head back to where it is that you're going. But then Leonard,
I
you'll
don't mean
stay
to
with us
interrupt
for.
you, but...
Please.
Sorry for my interruption, but I think it might be possible for me to send a message to Brelka directly using my powers. So
Ooh.
we wouldn't even need to split the party, so to say.
Sure. You mean so when you reunite, it'd be a little bit quicker.
Yes. Basically, our three fellows could head out and scout the field, and when they return to me and Malvoon, then I could send a message to Brelka that she would receive immediately.
I
So
don't.
you want? Oh,
I
okay,
don't
so you
need.
want-
I don't need all of you to stay. Realistically, only one. The issue is that if the witch hunters see you collaborating with us, that would cause more harm than good. One is something that could be excused. Lies could be told, but all of you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to you, Leonard. Just know that if need be, I could send a.
I think I really don't think it'd be an issue for me to stay and scout. Like that's.
I mean, it really wouldn't be. I'm just looking for an
No,
excuse
yeah.
to use spell weaving more.
Well,
We
but
can
either way,
spell
like,
maybe a nice hat.
well, you can literally just say, "Hey, it's time to come back." Like you can send out your spell to say, "Hey, it's time to come back, buddy." So that's totally an option. So
Yeah, that works too.
Pass
see-
along how the enchantment's going. Also.
I say all the time, it's a better part of a day to get here, like more than half a day to get here from
Should we
Carius.
wait for Neil?
Well, I mean, just quickly, do you guys want to spend the night here, or do you want to head back to?
I would ask Sadal about like Temerian politics and like the politic knowledge he has in general to like fill me in.
Sure. So you guys just have like a quick little chat about that sort of a thing. So
It's
you
our
know.
break day.
Yeah.
So Zadal is not very well informed on Temerian politics. Actually, kind of funny. He tells you that the information that he's been able to gather, what they've been able to work with, was literally information they got off of Malvoon. Malvoon being his closest person, somebody that actually lives in Temeria, somebody being a mage that has
I'm back.
actual like value, significance, so on and so forth. So he will give you some very slight information, but Malvoon's actually where you're going to be able to get more of it from, because he just understands that stuff better. But funny enough, when other names are brought up, as he's just kind of like scratching his head and pulling up names, some of them Bastion just seems to know, like he kind of like remembers that stuff, or like at points in time he might even remember slight things like it's one of those like when he talks about like the Vizima and like the where the nobles tend to stay there, he has like flashes of memory of like the structure of buildings, even though he's probably never been to that city before and stuff like that. Like he seems to have like a little bit of information. Whether or not he shares that with you guys is a different conversation, but he definitely has that info.
Probably not enough that I would share it, like, in the moment or anything, at least.
So you guys have a little bit of a chat. You spend the night then? And then early in the morning, once again, you get up. And so this is why it's like, oh, you guys are always well healed because you spend a lot of nights. Early the next morning, you guys get up and you start trekking your way back south into Carius. Everybody except for Leonard, who's literally, like, as you guys are heading out, has already joined up with Brelka and having conversation with, like, where they're planning to, like, look and looking over maps and whatnot. So the three of you guys start heading down to Carius.
So Neil, I'm staying to help them scout. They said they needed some help scouting, and then you three are because I didn't want to donate my blood or anything like that. I was pretty against the whole idea, and you guys seem to want Bastion's sword upgraded, which is strange, but whatever. So I'm gonna stay.
So you guys are, you three are more or less just quickly heading to Carius, spending your week or whatever with Malvoon, and then rejoining, and then starting your trek from there. And so since there was time to kill anyways, Leonard was just like, yeah, I'll help them. You know, why not? Let's just...
Yeah, I think probably Tao's more likely to go with Leonard and Broker as well, seeing as he's friends with Broker.
You were
and
out
he's
of the
not a
room.
fan.
You were out of the room. Having too many of you guys is actually an issue, because if you were to get noticed by witch hunters or spotted or whatever, that could cause a lot of harm. Whereas one person's more easily excused or lied or so on and so forth was the idea that was kind of put forward.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, well,
I see how it is.
Hey, next time you have to take a poo, you know.
I mean, I can. Do you want me to tell Baroka something? You want me to pass a message on? I can write a little "I love you," and then "Do you love me too?" and then a little box yes, a little box no.
She said she's not
draw
interested
a big
in
penis
you.
and like draw a picture of Tom next to us, like.
Stick to your tall with a big third leg. Just be like, Tall wanted me to give this to you. I don't know what it's about. I can't decipher it.
What is it?
He tells you a number and you have to play a game with her. Guess the inches.
2. Is that right?
So you guys start making your way there. Not a big deal. And you're gonna like hang out for them a bit. So more or less, like we go there. There's not a lot of conversation that needs to be had. You know, you're gonna go meet with Malvoon. I imagine a very quick conversation. We flash forward through a week. I explain how everything kind of plays out. So first thing that happens is you guys go back to Carius and you go to meet with Malvoon. And sometimes you see him throughout the city and you get invited, and sometimes you don't see him throughout the city. And you kind of just like go to his location, just since you found out where his house is. And this time you don't see him throughout the city. It's not a big deal. You go to his home. When you get to his house, however, you're a little surprised to see what you see.
Uh-oh, it's the cops.
It's the witch hunters.
There have been a lot of boot prints that have gone up and down these stairs. The door to his actual home has been burst open. The entire place has been ransacked, and more or less all the valuables, anything of value, has been removed from his home. But most importantly, you find Malvoon's corpse on the ground.
I know it's bad. I'm gonna medicine check that corpse. Like he's a hemo mage. This could all just be staged.
Sure, absolutely. So you go over and medicine check it. So you guys kind of take it in. You guys, it's literally like flabbergasted silence for a minute. And Tal's like, and then goes over and like kneels down and starts like looking at it.
I'm just rolling so well this session.
He's touching, you know, the corpse, rolling it over, trying to find anything that, honestly, you can find, you know, a couple of wounds on him, like actual, like, you know, dagger wounds on him, but nothing that, you know, you don't know if it'd be staged. You're like, nothing that kind of gives you any form of insight beyond. There's obviously wounds because he bled from those areas, you know.
Would I be able to like take a look as well to see if I can maybe pick up on anything, like to get an idea of who might have done this?
Investigation?
Anything left on him? Anything like that?
Yeah, so you do an investigation check, sure.
I would like to do an Arcana check on his body.
You guys just suck.
Wow.
So you make an investigation check. You look over the body, and unfortunately, you don't find any details of what's happening. Like you don't see any.
We needed our investigation boy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you do not find like all of his stuff of value has been taken. Obviously, his clothes are there. The whole place has been emptied.
Take his clothes.
His clothing is there.
Take his hat.
You know.
Did he have a cool big mage hat?
No.
So is there, unless you want to give us some more background, because this is like a pointed investigation question. Do you want to say your bit first, or?
I was going to just say Rick's next, but please ask your question.
This ties in heavily to what Rick might do next. Is there anything that, say, a normal person would be like, that's not expensive, and leave it? whereas someone who can either sense magic or is magically aware, or in whatever sense, would be like, "Oh my god, that's valuable."
The
Yeah, I
shelves.
would be detecting magic while inspecting his body.
So,
as well.
like, is there something that you would expect a common thief to have left, whereas someone who knows more about magic, or at least from a witch hunter sense?
Think of this as the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, or the Grinch Stole Christmas, whatever. And the only crumb left was too small even for a mouse. You know what I mean? Like they took everything, herbs, mortar and pestle, like everything pertaining to his art, like shelves, books, things that pertain to like anything of that may or may not have been of value that was in the general living areas. If you go over to like say where like his pantry was and all the food that might be in there, no, they didn't take that kind of stuff. But they clearly hit everything else that would be of value. But you're going to cast Detect Magic, which has an immediate effect, of course. But you're also going to roll me an Arcana check. Please, Rick.
Do I get advantage because I'm using Detect Magic at the same time?
No.
Okay.
It just
Worth a
unlocks
try.
different things. Okay, so you're looking about with your Detect Magic. I always say, what's your sensor now?
No.
Okay. So you're looking about with your Detect Magic, and one of the things that you're able to kind of pick up is that there are no magical presence here. Like, aside from the fact that his room has kind of like a lingering effect to it, there was literally just the fact that this is his ritual room, so it always has kind of like it will be for like a long while, lingering like bits of magic in there from all the practices that have happened over time. There's no magic lingering about anywhere. You don't see anything.
I just kneel beside the corpse. Well, he's not a necromancer, that's for sure. I close his eyes if they aren't closed.
Do you also...
That is interesting. Were they not closed?
They were open. Do you want to investigate him as well, Rick? Or
Yes.
okay, because I know that you're the medicine boy.
I'm the medicine boy.
I know you have the highest skill because of raw stat, but he's the one that often does it. Okay. So you're looking over, and as I described beforehand, you're able to tell that there is clearly knife wounds that are on him. Like that's pretty obvious to you. Knife wounds, cuts and whatnot from swords. You can see that from a sword, you can see that these attacks, while there aren't many of them, are very, very precise. You know what I mean? They're done to maximum effect. But overall, honestly, like, sure, there's clearly a killing blow, but overall, honestly, like, you would expect more of a mage, more of a fight to be put up with the condition of the room, everything that's in. And so that gets you a bit more curious and looking a bit more at how did he go down so quickly and so easily, unless you're talking about the most skilled of assassins that really caught him off guard. And so you start looking at, like what other effects might be lingering to his body. And you come to the conclusion based off of, the way that his skin is slightly off pigment, the way that like his blood has coagulated in a funny way. Perhaps poisons were involved.
I need to have a moment. I'm going to lock myself up in his study. If you hear any weird noises, don't come looking.
Something mysterious.
I need to send a message to Sadal immediately.
Do you
It might
share?
go
I
wrong.
mean, oh yeah, rip. Do you share what you think about poison?
Yeah, basically after like saying like I need to send a message to Sadal, like he's been betrayed. Poison might have been in play.
Well, you're
He was
doing
too
your.
weakened. A
Well, you're
mage would
doing-
have put up more of a fight than this.
But you think he'd be able to purge poison if he's a hemomancer? But anyway,
Not if he was unknowingly poisoned.
I don't know if we can help those people that were turned to stone now.
he's so useless now.
The only saliva we have left is the one that.
Yeah, because the rest will all be gone. When Brown goes in there, I mean, Tal's already tasted blood a few times now. He might dip a pinky in that wound.
He's got a taste for it.
with the survival, see whether he can detect any off flavors.
All the
as
flavors
much as
are
it disgusts him.
Get poisoned as a result.
This
Yeah.
tastes like blood. This tastes like fruit. Fruit gush.
This is why people eat people.
My God, his blood has been replaced with fruit crusher filling.
It is funny how you're consistently more than happy to
You
drink
know, it tastes of
blood.
poison.
I mean, he was averse to it, but he's crossed that threshold now several times.
Like I
So you
said,
gotta-
it is funny.
Roll survival to taste the poisoned blood.
Let Brand do his stuff first.
Oh, you're
I
not
feel
gonna
bad.
Okay, so Bren, what are you doing?
I would like to spell weave, and I would like to cast Sending, a 3rd level evocation spell.
You do your thing, sir. I am going to
Use
tell you
which-
this. You get advantage on this roll because you're inside a magical conduit area.
Ooh.
Choose this house.
So the highest of those is a 12.
And the DC for this is because it's not. Oh, you're not overreaching. You're just spell weaving.
Yeah, I'm just doing what's in my normal grasp, so
Okay, so you should be fine. So you cast that thing. Yep.
I can send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a likewise manner immediately.
Mhm.
The spell enables creatures with intelligence score of at least 1 to understand the meaning. You can send it across any distance or even to other planes, but like, if you send it to other planes, there's a chance it might not arrive, but that's not a thing, so... I would like to tell Zodal, Malvoon poisoned, Hasten plans to move camp, poison likely involved, betrayed by someone he knows.
You deliver your message, and you wait, and wait, and wait, but never receive a response.
He dead.
I like rush downstairs and it's like, I did not get an answer from Zodal. To be honest, I don't even know if the words arrived. I hope they did. We shouldn't stay here long.
That's not good. I hope Leonard's all right.
Hope so too.
And I'm gonna go ahead with that whole survival. I would also, thinking about the witches here, if I can get a sample of the blood that he's hopefully poisoned, take a sample so that they can filter out whatever. In fact, I'm not going to taste the blood. That's just the smart thing to do. He dips a finger in and goes like, what? And then collects a sample instead.
And so you give it to Bastion to start kind of like doing his alchemy with?
I got you.
We might not be able to do it now, but at some point we could certainly hopefully work out the poison venom.
Do you wish to stay here long enough to do that, or do you wish to not stay here any longer?
You should
I
try
don't
to
think-
I would like to search his study, so I will ask Tal. Like, Tal, I need your help for a minute.
The guards might come and arrest us.
I know, but his study. If there's any books that we can use, I think we're going to need them.
They've all been taken.
Taken.
Everything's been taken.
All of them? Ah, damn.
The place has been emptied.
We should try to
damn.
contact Leonard while we can.
Did Santa Claus show up?
What's going on?
Do you guys stay here any longer after collecting the blood, or do you try to go somewhere else that you think might be safer, at least for the now?
I'm just gonna
We
do
leave.
one more thing.
Okay, what is
I'm
it?
just gonna take a crossbow bolt and puncture his arm with it.
Okay.
No reaction.
No.
Yeah. Thought so. Just sure. He's got poison in his system. He could be Romeoing us.
Ha, funny. Okay, so you guys
You gonna
leave.
leave the body?
Leave the body. Where do you guys go?
As we leave, like, I turn to Bastion, like, Bastion, do you have any idea how old these tracks are?
Roll me a survival check, sir.
Can I
And
assist?
do you guys want to go to like a tavern or outside of the city, or?
There's a basement that we went to with Malvoon.
Yep. You know how to get back there. It's no problem. Okay. So
Maybe rolls.
unfortunately, there's so many tracks, you can't figure out how old they are.
Was Tal assisting?
I did want to, but it doesn't
Do
matter.
you want to do your own roll, maybe? I don't know.
I shall adhere to whatever Scott says.
That's fine. You can roll.
Now it's that time to avenge all the natty ones.
No, still
my
rolling.
Or not.
So again,
I've
it's
been
too many
Super Saiyan,
footsteps.
alright, and now I'm in
I
my
gave
weakness.
you my blood.
I need a senzu bean.
So you guys leave, kind of like, where do we go next? There's a basement we went to before, and so you guys, make your way there. But here's the question: do you try to stealth your way there, or do you just walk there like nonchalant?
Oh no, I wouldn't stealth. But now you've said, do I stealth? It makes me want to stealth.
I wouldn't have stealth unless, told to.
Rand wouldn't stealth. Like, yeah,
So we're just not.
this
You guys are
guy's
more
dead.
worried about
So,
finding out what
is
happened
it
to
illegal
him.
to look at a dead guy's house?
Okay, so you guys make your way over to that area where the basement is,
Yeah.
and you go down and into the basement. As the three of you are down there, kind of like down there, shut the door behind you. You're just kind of like, what the fuck just happened?
Can we bar the door?
Yeah, fine, well enough, yeah.
Let's do that then. Just cause if we're gonna be doing some like dodgy magics in here, whether it looks like magic or not,
Okay.
it may well look like magic to a common person.
So what are you guys doing? What's the next task? Are you?
We are considering how to work out what sort of venom / poison was used on the blades.
So I'm gonna have you guys roll Arcana check with advantage to figure this out, and this is going to be the better of Bastion and Bran. Arcana check with advantage as you guys are working through the.
I'm
kit.
just gonna go ahead.
Yeah.
No
I figured.
offense,
I figured.
but
So you guys
Hey.
actually spent a considerable amount of time sitting there working on it, and Tal, I imagine, going back and forth between pacing back and forth, cussing to himself, pacing back and forth, sitting down, drinking, pacing back and forth, punching something. After a while of like working it out and really breaking down the ingredients and whatnot, eventually you're able to discover it's actually a very, very rare kind of poison that goes by the name of Midnight Tears. So this is a very unique kind of poison because when it enters your system, it has really a very weak smell and a very weak odor. Sorry, a very weak smell and a very weak taste that you would notice if you took it directly. But if you included it inside something else that had a more potent flavor or smell, you'd be able to kind of have it go untraced, or at least mostly untraced. A particularly keen person might be able to pick it up. But anyways. The unique part about this is that the poison actually sits latent in your blood for an extended period of time. And then, for whatever reason, magical or alchemical, whatever it is, at the stroke of midnight is when all of a sudden the poison, almost like a flower blooming to the moon, comes to life in your blood and hits you, and it hits you hard. This is actually an extremely, extremely virulent poison that would overtake almost even strong, healthy, warriors would succumb to this kind of a poison. But it seemed as though this is the poison that was used, and for one reason or another, it wasn't enough to take down Malvoon. And he didn't seem like a particularly strong person, but maybe because of his hemomancy, it wasn't enough to fully take him down, but certainly had an impact. And then the wounds would have been what finished it. Again, the name of the poison is one by the name of Midnight Tears.
okay.
And just to confirm, none of us had any strange feelings at or after midnight.
No, nobody did. Absolutely not. No. You guys spent the night in Carius before you left. Spent the night with Zadal before you came back. Like, it's been 2 days. Nobody had any weird feelings at midnight either of those nights.
Is this poison associated with any like particular groups typically, or?
I mean, assassins in general, but even then, an assassin could literally just be somebody that like murders you in your caravan while you're riding along because they popped it like an axe.
I just wasn't sure if it was like one of those things, like some.
It's very, very rare. It has to be
Produced in a specific area.
It's very, very rare. It has to be someone that really understands the fine tuning of alchemy. Like a witcher could potentially make it if they had the recipe and the ingredients. But that's just because witchers are good with that stuff in general. A mage could do so as well, or a good enough apothecary. But there's technically no magic involved in this, just like there's technically no magic involved in a witcher's, potions. So you three guys are sitting there scratching your heads at poison that was in his blood, and then wounds that finished him off.
Don't know
Well,
how long it's been.
You don't know how long it's been, but you know it's been less than 2 days.
Less than 2 days, okay.
Because that's the last time you saw him, about 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's fair.
and we can deduce from the fact that the poison affects one at midnight, and the fact that you were able to close his eyes, that it was not 2 days ago.
Yeah, rigor mortis would have set in.
I mean, rigor mortis probably would have already said, but yeah, we'll go with that one as well.
Rigor mortis works funny on him. Various things work funny on him, like his blood coagulated funny, but like not completely. And the fact that he was a hemio mage and lots of effects changed his body. That's one of the reasons why it was so hard to medicine check him and stuff like that, was because things just don't impact him the same way it would a normal human because of how much he's manipulated blood over the years and whatnot. So it's one of those things where his body was bizarre. It was very fair to check him multiple times to see if he's still alive. You know what I mean? Because it just seemed off to you. So
Yeah, like Bran has heard tales of necromancers being hunted and stuff for like doing things like this.
So why don't we, as you guys are sitting there in the basement, scratching your heads and trying to figure out what you do next? What is your next plan? Are you guys gonna head to Zadal, or?
I still think we should contact Leonard.
Okay. So why don't we actually take one more break? This will be our last break before we do our final push. We'll come back for our final hour and change, and we'll see everybody shortly. So about 5 minutes, and we'll come right back for our last little bit. All right. See y'all shortly.